Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Parikshit Luthra and here are the headlines we are tracking this evening. The Adani Group stocks remain largely under pressure. The group has lost more than 10 lakh crore rupees in market cap in just over 3 weeks. Adani Enterprises regained some lost ground after reporting 42% growth in revenue. Sensex rises 600 points and Nifty gaining over 150 points, led largely by blue chips. ICICI Bank, ITC and Reliance are the top gainers, but mid-caps underperform. Income tax officials conduct surveys at BBC's Delhi and Mumbai offices, allege non-compliance with the transfer pricing rules and diversion of profits. Tax department claims that they had issued several notices to the British broadcaster in the past. Director General of GST Intelligence sends notices to 12 mutual funds, alleging that they wrongfully accounted for scheme costing as CAPEX to claim input tax credit. The agency has estimated a liability of 500 crores. Wholesale inflation eases to a 2-year low in January, aided by a high base effect. Power costs, fuel prices and prices of manufactured goods decline. However, food index inflation, which tracks prices of cereals, paddy, wheat, pulses, vegetables and potato, has increased. Death toll in the Turkey-Syria earthquake crosses 37,000. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad agrees to let United Nations deliver aid in rebel-controlled parts of northwest Syria through 2 more border crossings from Turkey. NATO claims that Russia has mounted a new offensive as defense ministers of member countries meet to discuss further military aid to Ukraine. Ukrainian military claims that the city of Bakhmut is facing heavy artillery fire. Meanwhile, Moldovan president accuses Russia of plotting to oust her pro-European Union government. Straight to the day's trading action. Dalal Street ended the day largely higher. Nifty and Sensex soared close to 1% each, led higher by a healthy move in some select large caps. Reliance, ITC and ICICI were the top contributors to the Nifty's up move. However, underperformance by mid-caps kept the market breadth in favor of declines. That index ended 0.25% in the red. Prashant Nair is here with all of the day's trading action. Prashant.
Ever since the day of the budget, the market's been trading water within the range. The high end of the budget day and the low of the budget day has been the range, and the market's been within this band ever since. Today, there was a real attempt to break out of that range. We didn't cross the budget day high, fell short by 20-30 points, but it was a good close. 0.8% gains on the Nifty and similar kind of gains on the Bank Nifty as well. Let me tell you sectorally, top down what did well. Metals stood out. FMCG as a pack was doing very well. PSU banks were well bid, and the IT services space, especially mid-cap tech, did quite okay. Large caps, gains coming through in names like UPL, ITC, Reliance Industries, Adani Ports, Adani Enterprises. Enterprises, of course, reported numbers as well. And then Bajaj Finance, which is slowly but surely creeping up after a poor 2022. What was down were names like Apollo Hospitals, Aisha, which of course was reacting to numbers, and SBI Life, which saw more profit taking. In the broader market, it was clean 2:1, declines to advances. So market breadth was negative for the second day in a row. All cargo reacting to poor numbers, sharply down. Indiabulls Real Estate, Adani Wilmar, Policy Bazaar, Spark, GICRE, Star Health, Gati, and so many other names which saw sell-offs. There were gainers as well, an outsized one, some in response to earnings. Oil India was one, for example. There was Mirza International in response to numbers, HBL Power in response to a guidance, Newland, Poonawalla FinCorp, and so on and so forth. The market has given a signal that perhaps is now closer to the upper end of the budget day range as compared to the lower end. The question is, can we break out of this range? And I think the one determinant, the big global market determinant, is going to be the January US consumer price inflation report, which we get later today, which could set the tone one way or the other. Back to you.
Now, as Prashant was mentioning, Adani Group stocks remained largely under pressure. 6 out of the 10 group stocks hit lower circuit today, and there were some patches of green. But despite that, the Adani Group gave up another 19,000 crore rupees in market capitalization today. This takes the cumulative loss since the Hindenburg report to 10.4 lakh crore rupees. Adani Enterprises regained some lost ground. The company posted a profit of over 800 crore rupees in Q3 against a loss of close to 12 crores in the previous year. Revenue grew 42% to over 26,600 crore rupees. EBITDA doubled from 2,450 crore rupees last year to 5,420 crore rupees in the current quarter. Margins also improved to 6.1% versus 4.1% last year. According to a Reuters report, Adani Enterprises and Adani Ports are likely to repay its short-term commercial debt over the next few months and not roll them over as normal. Adani Enterprises and Adani Green have not moved forward with its planned bond offerings. The report added that the Adani Group is currently not looking to tap the short-term debt market amid the opposition onslaught against the centre over the Hindenburg report on the Adani Group. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has said that the BJP has nothing to hide and no one can accuse the government of crony capitalism.
अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने केस का संज्ञान लिया है। देश की कैबिनेट के सदस्य नाते जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने किसी मैटर को सीज किया हो उस वक्त मेरे लिए बोलना ठीक नहीं होगा, परंतु इसमें बीजेपी के लिए कुछ छुपाने को नहीं है और ना किसी बात से डरने की जरूरत है।
And the Income Tax Department conducted surveys at BBC's Delhi and Mumbai offices today. Sources tell us that the taxman has alleged that the British broadcaster has not compiled with transfer pricing rules. They have also levelled allegations of profit diversion. The move comes weeks after the British broadcaster released a two-part documentary on Prime Minister Modi, which was later protested against by the Indian government. Danish Anand joins us from outside the BBC's Delhi office.
With the Income Tax Department is conducting a survey at the BBC offices in New Delhi as well as in Mumbai, and the building that you see behind me is the same building where the BBC office in New Delhi is situated, and in this building the BBC office is situated on the 5th as well as on the 6th floor. Well, according to the income tax sources, the survey is being conducted because IT has alleged that due to non-compliance with the transfer pricing rules as well as because of diversion of profit, this survey is being conducted by the tax authorities, and the IT has also alleged that they have issued several notices to the BBC in the past and they have been completely non-compliant with it. Moreover, whatever documents that they are searching right now, it includes a lot of details on manipulation of prices for an unauthorized benefits, which also includes tax advantages. So these are the certain reasons why the Income Tax Department is conducting a survey right now, and as per the normal protocol, whichever employee was present inside the office at that time, they are not allowed to use any kind of electronic devices, or neither they're allowed to enter or exit from the office. Well, this survey has been on since 11:15 a.m. in the morning, and even till now the survey is going on.
Now, in the commodity market, oil prices continue to fall after the US government said that it would release more crude from its strategic petroleum reserves. This was against expectations of the release being either cancelled or delayed. Traders are also keeping an eye on the inflation data expected later today. Some softening in the wholesale prices. The WPI index for January has eased to 4.73%. This is the lowest level in 2 years. However, inflation in food and primary articles witnessed a rise month on month, while fuel, power and manufactured products inflation saw a marginal dip. Vegetables inflation contracted significantly by nearly 10%. Private equity giant Blackstone remains upbeat on India. Its president, Jonathan Gray, called India the second best investment destination for Blackstone after UK. Gray highlighted that private equity investment returns have been solid in India. The GST Council meeting scheduled on the 18th of February is likely to deliberate on some proposals made by the Fitment Committee. Sources say the Council will be looking at proposals on reducing GST on millet-based products and other items. We are going to be taking a short break here on Business 360, but don't go anywhere. We will be joined by Senior Advisor at Bain Capital, Stephen Baklioka, in a short while from now. Don't go anywhere.
Pull up the flicks and I take it on beer. Pull up the hands and I feel no beer. I dig don.
I sick John.
Take it on the roll and the show and the pull up the flicks and I pull up.
Hello, Goosebumps, the new Volkswagen Virtus.
देखो 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 नया टीवी देखो aha got the veggies from Chotu's shop. He gives the right rate.
Yes, Papa.
Decided 55-inch TV on this wall.
Oh, super. I'll write out the check tomorrow.
No, you don't. I will, with my own money.
Oh, wow. How come?
Look at this advertisement. 30% assured returns on investment. I am also going to invest my money.
So vegetables only from Chotu's shop, but investment advice from anyone? Papa, trusting a stranger's advice is never wise.
But what about the TV?
सोच कर समझ कर invest कर.
What if you were a major transit system with billions of passengers taking millions of trips every year? You weren't about to let any cyber attacks slow you down. So you partner with IBM to build a security architecture to keep your data, network, and applications protected. Now you can tackle threats so they don't bring you to a grinding halt. And everyone's going places, including you. Let's create cybersecurity that keeps your business on track. IBM, let's create.
MCX presents a new cotton futures contract, now available for trading. Refer to circular on mcxindia.com for more details.
अपने घर और कमर्शियल स्पेसेस को बनाइए अल्ट्रा मॉडर्न, इनोवेटिव, इको फ्रेंडली विद क्विक इंस्टॉलेशन. ऑल दिस एट द वन स्टॉप डेस्टिनेशन, यूरो प्रतीक.
मैम, इंश्योरेंस वो काउंटर.
ऐसे वक्त के लिए तैयार होना तो दूर, खुद को संभालना भी मुश्किल हो जाता है. पर शुक्र है हमें संभालने के लिए पॉलिसी बाजार तैयार खड़ा था.
ये सब मैं देख लूंगा.
पॉलिसी बाजार पर 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 390 रुपए महीने से शुरू.
बर्जर लॉन्ग लाइफ फ्लेक्सो. इसका फ्लेक्सिबल फिल्म न सिर्फ क्रैक ढके बल्कि फंगस से भी प्रोटेक्शन दे. घर शानदार, इज्जत बरकरार. बर्जर लॉन्ग लाइफ फ्लेक्सो.
It's been a milestone year for the Indian startup ecosystem. As we look into 2022, what makes you most excited?
I'm a big believer in the India growth story, and tech ventures are likely to be central to this growth.
The deployment of technology, more specifically for women, have made it easier for them to be able to start up. Do you believe that this is going to be a sweet spot?
Adoptability of behavior has just accelerated. Brands are being able to scale up a lot faster.
Discover how India's entrepreneurs and organizations are evolving and preparing for the next normal. Young Turks at these times.
Brought to you by Van Heusen presents Destination Wedding Collection.
Meet global thought leaders as they share their insights on advancing gender equality.
For the first time, India now has a gender inclusion fund in our education policy to help build academic infrastructure, particularly aimed at young girls and women.
A mega initiative to make gender parity an attainable reality. HSBC presents CNBC-TV18 Future Female Forward, the Women's Collective.
Presented by HSBC. Knowledge partner Deloitte. Industry partner FICCI. Associate partner Reliance Industries Limited.
Suresh.
Yes, brother.
Please take care of it, huh?
Sure, I'll do it.
Really? You're concerned for it even if you're going to the village for just 2 days. But you never think about us this way.
Everything will be fine. My rickshaw union group has taken LIC's group micro-term assurance plan. Papa! Wow! Now no matter what, my family will keep moving forward.
Get LIC's group micro-term assurance plan. Keep your family secure.
हो गया इंतजाम.
किसका?
गुड्डी की फीस का.
दिखा. 20,000 का लोन तुरंत. पता है कौन दे रहा है, ब्याज कितना है? लोन विनियमित संस्थानों से ही लें और कर्ज उतना जितनी जरूरत, वो भी जांच कर. हो गया इंतजाम. पगार एडवांस में भेजिए.
आरबीआई कहता है
सही वित्तीय बर्ताव करे आपका बचाव.
The Director General of GST Intelligence has sent notices to about 10 to 12 mutual funds. Sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the Director General of GST Intelligence has alleged that these mutual funds wrongfully accounted for schemes and they costing capex to claim input tax credit. Timsi Jaipuria joins us now with the details. Timsi, what are your sources telling you?
Well, sources are clearly indicating that when it comes to mutual funds, about 10 to 12 mutual fund houses have been sent notices, or to be precise, letters of inquiry to explain the ITC claims that they have made in the year 2017 and 18. And this is with regards to the ITC that they have claimed on account of, expenses that were capped at 2.25% of AUM. And what the government now feels that these mutual funds, they wrongfully claimed ITC by billing excessive expenses under capex, which is outside the purview of the prescribed norms. What we are given to also understand is that the total quantum of evasion that has been initially now identified by the DGGI is to the tune of between 125 to about 500 odd crore rupees, because a lot of these claims and a lot of these allegations could be challenged. So thus DGGI is keeping a low profile right now. But yes, Mumbai zone of DGGI has sent these notices, waiting for details. In some cases, realizations have also happened. But yes, about 10 to 12 top mutual funds right now under DGGI's radar.
All right. Thanks, Dimsi Jaipuria, for joining us. Meanwhile, NATO has claimed that Russia has mounted a new offensive as defense ministers of member countries meet to discuss further military aid to Ukraine today. Further, Ukrainian military claimed that the city of Bakhmut is facing heavy artillery fire. Moldovan president has also accused Russia of plotting to oust a pro-European Union government. Death toll in the Turkey-Syria earthquake crosses 37,000. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad agrees to let United Nations deliver aid in rebel-controlled parts of northwest Syria through 2 more border crossings from Turkey. Foreign portfolio investors have pulled out another 4 billion worth of equities from India so far in 2023, the highest among the emerging markets. So what is the view among investors worldwide right now? What are the big growth drivers? I'm now joined by Stephen Paliuka, Senior Advisor at Bain Capital. Thank you very much for joining us, Stephen. Let me begin by asking you about your outlook for India. We've just delivered a budget with a strong capex push, a strong infrastructure push. What are the sectors that make you most excited about India?
Well, India has always been expert on technology and service businesses. It's one of the, I think, the only large nation that's growing at 6.5%, 7% projected GDP. So outlook is very strong for India.
Right. Let me also ask you about the outlook for the U.S. Economy, especially inflation. We're expecting another round of rate hikes by the Fed. What would be your outlook on the road ahead?
I think the road ahead, looking at a kind of 10-year picture, the issues U.S. investors are facing is first the strategic decoupling from China. We had a record trade with China, by the way, last month, but certain areas like chips and medical supplies, we need to supply on our own. The IRA Act is providing for that. So there'll be a bit of a decoupling from China and alliances with Australia, the other Western nations, Japan. The second issue we're facing is this, which we just talked about, inflation, which is a result of the massive increase in the money supply since the crisis over the last 10 years. Now we finally had inflation and the Fed's reacting. By the way, I'm not too concerned about that because for most of my career, interest rates were 4.5% to 5% on T-bills anyway. That's the norm. So we're really seeing back to normal now where fundamental value will be rewarded versus speculative value, which came in with all the cheap money out there. And then the third thing we're facing, which is also going to be inflationary, is this transition to a non-carbon economy. I believe that's going to take a lot longer than people think. Have to run dual systems. That'll cause some inflation as well. So those are the three things weighing in the minds of investors from a U.S. standpoint. And finally, probably unprecedented since the Cold War, tensions with the Ukraine war breaking out and issues with China, balloons, and the Taiwan issue.
Right. How do you see fund flows into emerging markets like India amid high interest rates?
Well, India is a very strong market, and I think you've seen large increases in private equity and direct foreign investment in India, and I think that will continue, especially as many companies pull back from China for strategic reasons, and certainly everyone has pulled back from Russia. India will be the beneficiary of that capital, and it's a very strong economy, a very young population base, very educated. So India really has a lot going for it. They've recently improved the rule of law, the bankruptcy laws, and other things. I think India has a ways to go in that, but India is going in the right direction, and it should be a very attractive place for investors to invest in. We certainly at Bain Capital have a great operation there.
Right. I would also like to ask you about diversification of supply chains because of geopolitical tensions, because of the COVID situation in China, because of the pandemic that we have seen over the last 2 to 3 years. What trends do you feel we will see on the diversification front, on the China Plus One strategy? Which countries in Southeast Asia stand to benefit the most?
Well, certainly India stands to benefit. You've already seen Apple increase production in India. And again, I think this diversification of supply chain will be at the margin, mainly for critical components, medical and technology components. So India will be a beneficiary. You see some activity in Vietnam and Malaysia as well. So I think the kind of the term people are using is friend sourcing or insourcing. So a lot of these products will come back to the United States or be friend sourced to countries that are favorable to kind of the western side of the alliance.
Right. Stephen Palioka, thank you so much for joining us here on CNBC TV18, giving us your outlook for the global economy. And how does India stand to benefit as well? Thanks once again for being with us here on Business 360. That's all we have time for on this edition of the program. Stay tuned to CNBC TV18 for more updates.
Co-powered by IBM. IBM